Real Deal reports who and what is Ellen DeGeneres. Based on recent Hollywood revelation, the veil of these once beloved celebrities has faded into irrelevance like the narrative of the pandemic. And a weird diagram in the background of this photograph is frowned upon with anger and lunacy and not so much fear. We have more about Ellen and the salami, oddly enough. Dean, where do we begin?
Well, I guess we could begin. When I was at Subway the other day, I could have swore my salami sandwich tasted like Ellen because it didn't taste. So that's where it starts and ends.
One time a thing occurred to me. What's real and what's for sale? Blew a kiss and tried to take it home. Isn't you, isn't me? Search for things that you can't see. Going blind, out of reach, somewhere in the destiny.
Again, at number 3, that's Flies in the Vaseline by Kate Hudson. A rising star here on the Billboard charts here with Casey Kasem. Yes, it is. Oh, we're live. Oh my. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, wherever you may be. This is Dean Ryan here, your cruise director for Real Deal Media Live. We're going to make some last-minute additions here tonight. We were supposed to have had Jim Fetzer join us, and he had an emergency concert recital. So we had to just move everything around. So we're a little late here tonight. Wait, hold on a minute. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got word. Jim Fetzer has entered the building. Jim, what a surprise. Wow. What a surprise. I didn't know you were here the whole time.
Dr. Ryan, I love you. And Peter McCullough, what a combination. What a combination for wellness.
It is a combo. It's a wonderful combo. Yeah, a lot of people are coming together. Jim is tonight's title of the show for Real Deal Media Live. By the way, The definition of this particular original series here is it's very interactive. We're going to be focusing on the audience. Jim loves viewers from all over the world, as do I, and we're going to be concentrating on that. We're going to have open lines, and feel free to call in and agree with us if you can. That is the name of the game. And Jim, how are you? Jim, how are you doing? Are we allowed to know? You went to a recital. Which one was it?
Well, my granddaughter was participating in a musical choruses at the high school where she's a freshman, and it was very nice, very nice. She's extremely talented. She had the role of Ariel in Little Mermaid, and it was just spectacular. One of the older women said she started to cry when my granddaughter began singing, and she has been taking voice lessons, and it's phenomenal. She does it all.
Well,
She can dance, she can sing, and she can act. So,
well,
she has lots of roles.
I'll tell you, if that woman had, if she had the chance to hear Aaron Cates sing, she would cry all over again. It's just that beautiful.
Yes, for very
I'll tell
different
you,
reasons.
he's a crooner. He's the modern Sinatra of Canada. It's just if he's listening, I mean, But
Let's bring him
Jim,
on.
there's so much going. There's so much happening, Jim. We have so much to get to that I just don't even want to get to it. I can't. It's overwhelming, and I want to run away and join the Peace Corps or something. But so let's get to it. Jim's going to be in and out here tonight, and he's going to be monitoring the live chats. We're looking for Russian and Chinese bots only. If you're out there, please get a hold of us. But let me put the live. If you would like to join us, if you have the courage, if you have the foresight to join us here tonight, I'm going to put the live call in. You don't have to use your camera if you don't want. We know a lot of people have warrants out there and running from the law. That's fine. So feel free to join the convo. And we have very friendly fans all over the world, Jim. There's not a lot of argumentative jargon around here. There you go. Go ahead and do that at your leisure. There it is. Okay, Jim, why don't we get started with a few headlines from around the world and in your neck of the bloody woods, shall we? Yes, it's true. It is true. Real Deal Headlines is back here. And, there's a headline virtually every 30 minutes these days, if you're counting. But this one's big, and it's really not getting the coverage it deserves. And I'm talking about what just took place at the Mexican and Texas border, I believe, just hours ago. Well, now cartels have unleashed drone bombs on United States Border Patrol, a new era of cross-border warfare. That's a new era. This is a big, big deal. And let me tell you just a slight hair more about it now. So here's what took place now. U.S. Border Patrol obtained a memo revealing the Mexican drug cartels have authorized the use of weaponized drones to attack agents and law enforcement officers along the Rio Grande Valley. Well, the use of the weaponized drones represent a significant escalation in cartel tactics now, indicating a shift towards more advance in asymmetrical warfare strategies. The State Department has also issued level 4 advisory for Tamaulipas, Mexico, due to the increasing presence of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and who remembers those from the Iraqi War? Constructed of using the common mining explosives, the classicals, the novel, what I'm talking about. Well, now, in addition to that, and remember, we told you first in 2021, we were the first to tell you that there are gun battles happening at the Texas and Mexican border all the way back then in 2021 when people thought we were crazy for sharing that with you. But now it's now coming out as an official statement as gun battles between U.S. Border Patrol and the cartel Del Norte near Fronten, Texas, have intensified, they say, with recent incidents involving gunfire from the Mexican side of the border. And finally, the federal government must take decisive action as many are calling for that, to address the threat by strengthening border security, designating cartels as terrorist organizations, providing law enforcement with necessary resources to combat these sophisticated criminal networks. What a huge ordeal this is. It is warfare like never before, continuing now. Well, there's more. Well, now the Texas National Guard has now been given immigration arrest authority in Trump's border security blitz. Yes, the Blitzkrieg pop is now popping at the border. Yes, as the Texas National Guard, the very admired Texas National Guard, is now arresting migrants. Well, now Trump authorized the Texas National Guard to make immigration arrest under certain circumstances, reversing Biden's damaging policies. There's now a new contract between Texas and CBP, enhances border security and law enforcement capabilities. Also, Texas deploys now the Texas Tactical Border Force to work with Border Patrol to enforce immigration laws, unless they're, detaining yours truly here when I just was driving through El Paso, which is reeking of that coyote kind of presence, I guess I had. Well, now Trump also, in addition, has declared national emergency at the southern border and he sent active duty troops. We heard 10,000. And expedited deportations. Now, in closing, in just the first week, Trump's administration deported more than 7,300 illegal immigrants, in a sharp contrast to the Biden's open border approach. Oh, isn't it? And finally, and we're going to go to Jim here in a second, but finally now, with the migrants, there's now massive migrant raids are now to be expected in San Diego as thousands of ICE officers head to the border. And let me tell you, as someone who has recently spent time in San Diego, you could go to a Denny's restaurant and see the Juan Valdez of migrants. And at the other table, you see the Jackie Chan of the CCP migrants from China. That's the kind of international house of pancakes it is over there now, because there's everybody from God knows where, every third to second world, all coming in through San Diego to a very welcoming California. But let me just get this out of the way here, as the raids are now expected. And what is that going to entail? Many people have wondered. Many people have asked. Well, the massive migrant raids now in San Diego are going to happen now as ICE and Marines are reportedly preparing for the largest illegal immigrant deportation operation in recent history at the San Diego border. This is where everything's at now. Targeting 100,000 immigrants. The operation showcases vast deployment of the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and CBP vehicles, emphasizing Trump's commitment to border security and deportation. In fact, Border Czar Tom Hanman praises the administration's proactive stance now, highlighting the need for more deportations. And recent arrests now included a convicted murder, a gang member, and are praised as enhancing community safety. Let's talk about it, Jim, and we'll be looking at our viewers, what they say. Jim, let's talk about the border. This is, we'll take good news where we can grasp it, but this is a major effort. And are we going to be successful, or the cartel is going to outlast the Trump administration?
Well, it's going to be a war, Dean. It's going to be a war. In fact, I was notified, I was given a tip that it's already begun, that the Air Force is involved. There are attacks on the cartels going on in Mexico, but we're not seeing them reported in the mainstream. Is a significant up by the cartels, of course, to allow some kind of bomb on the border patrol. But Trump's got the problem sized up properly, and this guy Holman seems to be the perfect guy to put down the massive problem we confront here with all these illegals. And of course, as you may have already reported, out in LA, they had a massive protest covering the freeways, man. They're trying to shut down. It's not going to work, Dean, but they're going to fight like mad.
Yeah, yes, they are going to fight like mad. But, these protests, we hear New Jersey governor, whose name escapes me, and Illinois governor, they're promoting how they're going to safe harbor the migrants as they see fit. And to the extent where the New Jersey governor, as of yesterday, said he was housing a migrant, and he told Trump and ICE to come and get it, come and take it, literally. Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. You know the military laws and all of the War Powers Act. Could they be considered domestic enemies that are
The
not abroad?
illegals? Well,
The governors who are
Trump has just designated the cartels, by the way, as terrorist organizations, and he can federalize the National Guard in these various states. So they're playing with fire. I mean, they think they have more power than they actually do. Trump is going to, I think, be very successful in these dealings, Dean. And the governors of New Jersey, Murphy, maybe, Pittsburgh in Illinois, who's quite a ridiculous, very rich, but idiotic governor,
right.
They're making these gestures, but it's grandiose and it's not going to stand.
What I'm wondering if they do start harboring, aiding, and abetting the now newly designated terrorist, if they would be swept under some kind of military law for aiding and abetting the terrorist organizations, and they better be careful because this is a deadly game of just chess here with deep state players.
Well, one thing you can see about Trump, he's very serious. He's taking a lot of actions very swiftly. And I think it's because he realized he's mortal. And I guarantee you the cartels are going to put out a hit on Trump. So, he's got to act decisively and swiftly.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And stand by there, Jim, as we continue with some real deal headlines. Well, here's some other great, incredible news that is just so good for my therapy to hear more of these stories and more and more. Well, we reported to you just the other night here about U.S. aid, which has nothing to do with aid at all. But it has always been a CIA storefront. And you may remember the late, not so great John McCain and Miss Lindsey Graham were heavily involved in the rise of ISIS. Well, wherever ISIS seemed to be, U.S. aid was just around the corner. But now it's official. We were speculating before, but now it is Facebook official now as U.S. aid officials on leave now. They're all on leave as Trump cracks down on foreign aid mismanagement. And there's a lot of it. Well, the Trump administration has now placed dozens of U.S. aid officials on leave for allegedly bypassing foreign aid freeze. The freeze aimed to align aid with U.S. interests has halted thousands of programs, leading to layoffs. It's really sad. Really sad. They better learn how to code, Internal probes found actions to circumvent Trump's executive orders, prompting the move. Yes, this is why Trump 1.0, a lot of those executive actions, which he thought were working, they were being undermined by the CIA, U.S. aid. Well, now the controversy reflects long-standing issues now of inefficiency and failure in U.S. foreign aid. The administration's actions emphasize accountability and the need to reform foreign aid practices and standards. It certainly does. We're at that point now. Well, speaking of which, here's a little follow-up now on the Trump tariffs. As the threats yield, and Mexico deployed 10,000 troops to secure the border as a continuation of last night's story. If you didn't hear, Trudeau said he was going to comply. Panama said they were going to comply. And now Mexico, and this one's big. Well, now Trump's tariffs, yes, threats yield results. Now Mexico will deploy an additional 10,000 troops to the U.S. troops are there at the U.S.-Mexico border to combat fentanyl illegal immigrations. Well, this move comes after Trump threatened tariffs, demonstrating the effectiveness of his hardline approach, which we haven't seen in probably since Teddy Roosevelt. Well, Trump in Sheinbaum, the Mexican president there from Tel Aviv, I don't even know how it works, but had a friendly conversation, agreeing to work on preventing weapon trafficking into Mexico, which they probably should get Eric Holder to really lead that effort and project, because he would know. Well, the deal has also boosted market optimism, with the Mexican peso surging, U.S. equities recovering, and a whole new meeting to Taco Tuesday. Well, the tariffs on Canada will remain for now, sadly, with Trudeau taking a firm stance in preparing retaliatory measures. Mexico has also agreed to deploy the 10,000 troops to the border to combat the flow of trafficking, everything. So this is a stark contrast of overtures, changes as America is changing. Yes, it is. We haven't seen so much action like this. Well, I'm not even going to say what I was just about to, as now we go to real deal politics the way it should be, shall we? Real deal politics. Let's get going here, shall we? We have a lot to get to now. Let's start with this now. Trump says he's given advisors instructions for Iran to be obliterated if they assassinate him, as Netanyahu foreshadowed somehow, like the great Karnak. I'll show you the clip here, but let's discover more about this now. As Donald Trump said today that he's given his advisors instructions to obliterate Iran if it assassinates him. Yes, they did. The federal authorities have been tracking Iranian threats against Trump and other administration officials for years. Trump ordered the 2020 killing of Qasem Soleimani, who led the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps force over there. A threat on Trump's life from Iran prompted additional security in the days before July campaign rally over there in Pennsylvania, where Trump was shot in the ear. And the kid who just happened to be on the Trump campaign mailing list, well, they split his head open at a seconds flat. The Justice Department announced in November that the Iranian plot to kill Trump and before the presidential election was thwarted. The department also alleged Iranian officials had instructed Farhid Shakiri in September to focus on surveilling, ultimately assassinating Trump as the main focus. Well, to hear from the horse's mouth himself, this is what Trump had to say just moments ago.
Why is it you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why, lack of intelligence perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran.
Well, he's looking a little tired, but he's done so much. Jim, let's talk about this now. First of all, Trump, has done so much in just 2 weeks. You can tell it's, he's working overtime. His hair's not as golden, but just how true is this and how real is this assassination attempt on his life? Because he left instructions for people.
Well, if there are assassination attempts on Trump, it's not from Iran. That's Israeli propaganda. They want to set up a situation where they might take out Trump and blame it on Iran. I mean, Iran is a great remaining enemy. When 9/11 took place, Donald Rumsfeld issued an order for the government to take out 7 countries in the next 5 years, beginning with Iraq and Libya, ending with Syria and Iran. Well, Syria's fallen. The only one left is Iran. And this is part of the Greater Israel Project, where they want to expand to encompass a big chunk of Egypt, virtually all of Saudi Arabia, all of Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and even a chunk of Iraq from the Euphrates to the Nile. And they're unrelenting, Dean. They're unrelenting. Let me add, by the way, you mentioned closing USAID headquarters. That is huge, because that has been the conduit the CIA has used to funnel to pay ISIS,
Okay.
Al Qaeda,
Yes.
HTS. I mean, that's a very, very important
Okay.
move by Donald Trump. So they're like
So,
contradictory. The one is for peace, and the other is threatening
well,
war.
right. And I want to get back to Trump. You mentioned this, for people who are just hearing about this U.S. aid for the first time in their life, where they might not have paid attention in the past about this because it's very niche. The United States, it's a United States agency for international development. There's no aid at all. There's no live aid. There's no, Sally Struthers is not there, the bag of rice. There's no aid in feeding anybody. So this was a international development it's an agency responsible for administrating civilian foreign aid, they say, but not through them, and development assistance with a budget of $50 billion is one of the largest official aid agencies in the world and accounts for more than half of the United States foreign assistance budget, the highest in the world in absolute dollar terms. Wow. Talk about big buyouts and payouts.
Properly understood, it's a terrorism slush fund, Dean. That's what USAID amounts to.
Well, Jim, if you put it all in together, the cartels have been the henchmen. The cartels are the guys who killed Seth Rich, with all the WikiLeaks stuff. It's the cartels that do the false flags. If they got to take somebody out. Now they got U.S. aid. Trump's going really hard domestically, Jim.
I understand John Podesta gave the order to hit Seth Rich using MS-13 gang members. So, I mean, what would they know or care about? The guy was in IT for the DNC who downloaded files, as Bill Benny observed, in the Eastern time zone at a rate too fast to be distant Russian hacking. He was a Bernie Sanders supporter, pissed because the Democrats had given 13 primaries and caucuses Bernie had won and assigned them to Hillary to make sure she would be the nominee. He didn't like that, got information, and he shared it with, WikiLeaks. I mean, this was wonderful, a great move to expose what's really going on.
Okay, here's some comments. We're going to be looking. Let's start with YouTube. We have the great Seth Black, who said the following. Not that one. He said, 100% Jim about Israeli propaganda with Iran. To me, Trump knows. I think Trump is threading a very close strategy here with Israel and Netanyahu, because it's obvious. You don't have to be a scholar to understand that Netanyahu was promoting Iran for assassinating Trump before the assassination took place over the summer. And then what do you know? So I think he's playing Netanyahu, but, I'm a gambler, and that's, my problem. Here's another one here. Let's go to Rumble here. We have Amnesty says, all the way from Canada, that is not our 51st date. Okay. We'll renege the invitation. But anyways, she says, I'm frustrated as there's evil government everywhere. Every day is a shite show. Everyone is against each other. Jim, that's another thing about psychological warfare. It really builds on the perseverance, and people do. It's a lot.
Yeah. I'm embarrassed that Trump has Netanyahu visiting with him now at the White House, and that he authorized something like 1,500,000-pound bombs to be added to the arsenal for Israel to slaughter Palestinians. I don't like that at all. This is what worries me the most about Trump is excessive enthusiasm for all things Israeli and his seeming support for the Gaza genocide. That is just awful.
Well, we'll see what happens when the JFK documents come out and really put a spotlight on the Israeli nuclear what was it called? The nuclear program back in the 60s. And finally here, Ranger Buck says Elon had already found the payments to Echo Health and Alliance in the tune of $54 million for gain of function research. Jim, here we go. It's all coming back to the corona virus here. and where this whole thing started. And all signs are pointing at the CIA. No doubt
Well, I
about
like
it.
this Dodge thing, it's Department of Government Efficiency, Elon and Ramaswamy
Doge.
originally, and they had a kind of a reconciliation or return the other night. They did a joint thing. Ramaswamy is so smart, but Elon is not to be underestimated. I mean, he's doing a pretty good job of budget cutting. And of course, that appeals to Trump, who's really a businessman. He's trying to shape up the American government to make it more responsible and efficient, which we all praise.
Well, yes, we do. Anyways, we got to move on, Jim. We have a long way to go, and a short time to get there. Stand by there. As we're going to continue our Real Deal Politics. Is now RFK Jr. poised for the HHS confirmation as Senate shifts in his favor, a turning point for natural health and government accountability. This is a big deal. This is the fundamental change of America, because to change a country, I mean, you have to change the people, and that's what they're putting in their bodies now. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. he's now reported to have secured the necessary Senate votes for confirmation as Secretary of Health of Human Services, with all Republican senators backing him except for America's favorite turtle, Mitch McConnell, sadly. Kennedy's criticism of big pharma companies during his confirmation hearings, particularly his clash with Senator Mr. Wall Street Bernie Sanders himself, gained a traction among lawmakers and exposed significant contributions from pharmaceutical companies to the political whorebags themselves. Well, just to add, Senator John Fetterman, just darling around here, one of our favorites, a Democrat as well, has met with Kennedy twice and is still considering his support, reflecting broader Democratic hesitancy, given Kennedy's controversial views, allegedly, but also acknowledged his reform of the agenda. Kennedy's nomination also draws parallels to his family's tradition of challenging powerful institutions, aiming to reform the HHS and address issues like chronic disease and preventive care. And then finally, potential confirmation is seen as a chance to restore trust in government and prioritize public health, particularly through the reducing reliance on ultra-processed foods and the miracle jabs. Yeah, if you don't believe me, I think they just voted on this just hours ago. Once again, it's hard to believe, but, well, it happened.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. We now have not only a quorum, but all members of the committee are present. I move that the committee favorably report the nomination of the Honorable Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. of California to be Secretary of Health and Human Services. Is there a second? Second. There is a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Grassley. Aye. Mr. Grassley, aye. Mr. Cornyn. Aye. Mr. Cornyn, aye. Mr. Thune. Aye. Mr. Thune, aye. Mr. Scott. Aye. Mr. Scott, aye. Mr. Cassidy. Aye. Mr. Cassidy, aye. Mr. Langford. Aye. Mr. Langford, aye. Mr. Daines. Aye. Mr. Daines, aye. Mr. Young. Aye. Mr. Young, aye. Mr. Barrasso. Aye. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Mr. Johnson. Aye. Mr. Johnson, aye. Mr. Tillis. Aye. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mrs. Blackburn. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mr. Marshall. Aye. Mr. Marshall, aye. Mr. Wyden.
No.
Mr. Wyden, no. Ms. Cantwell. No. Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Ms. Hassan. Ms. Hassan, no. Ms. Cortez Masto. Ms. Cortez Masto, no. Ms. Warren. No. Ms. Warren, no. Mr. Sanders. No. Mr. Sanders, no. Ms. Smith. No. Ms. Smith, no. Mr. Lujan. No. Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Warnock. No. Mr. Warnock, no. Mr. Welch. No. Mr. Welch, no. Mr. Chairman. Chairman votes aye. Mr. Chairman, the final tally was 14 ayes, 13 nays.
The vote was 14-13. The nomination is reported favorably. We will now turn.
He got it. He got the nomination. Now he got the confirmation. But wait, there's more. This just in about Tulsi Gabbard. Susan Collins over there in the Northeast has, she let the cat out of the bag. Check this out.
I just put out a statement explaining my reasoning. After extensive consideration, conversations with her in my office, attending the hearing, questioning her there, and listening to her in the closed session, I decided to vote that I will vote for her. I believe she's committed to strengthening our national security, And I questioned her extensively about her views on Edward Snowden, and I am now satisfied that she will not seek in any way to have him pardoned, which was a question that I answered in open session, that I asked her in open session. And in the closed session, she elaborated further on her reluctance to use the word traitor.
Great, thanks, guys. She's got a meeting.
She's
Got an off-campus award.
Have you started RFK Junior yet? No, I've been concentrating on a gazillion other things that you might.
Thank you.
Just incredible. Here's some people talking about it. Egyptian princess says Collins looks black. Yeah, it didn't dawn on me. Jim, I'm going to bring you in. This is huge. This is right up there with U.S. Aid of impact, Jim. This is instant gratification impact with these two. Your thoughts, Jim?
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to see RFK out of committee. And looks like Tulsi is doing well. She's tremendously important because she's actually objective. And during her testimony, she called out the neocon war makers who got us into attacking Iraq without justification by fabricating the story about weapons of mass destruction. Very rare for an American politician to pick out and talk openly and condemn the malfeasance of the past, but she was spot on. Very impressive.
But so I'm trying to. Is this a confirmation? Does she have the job? I think she does. Tommy Cotton seems.
They have the votes in the Senate, Dean. This is just getting them out of committee. That was getting RFK out of committee. The Senate. The vote, remember, is 100 senators, and they often can come down in controversial case of 50-50 where the vice president has a deciding vote. It's probably going to be that way with Tulsi. I think RFK Jr., it looks like Fetterman may come around and he may have a bit of a margin. But I think with Tulsi, it's going to be as tight as could be.
You know, Jim, Fetterman, it's been rumored that he might change parties after, the way they've been treating him is terrible.
I'd like that.
They're not treating him well at all, and it's even if you just ask questions, see how hard they're coming at him. But anyways, stand by there, Jim. This next one is a real whopper. What am I talking about, you might ask? Well, good question. Now, little Marco, Bathhouse Marco, has something to say. Is now treason at the top of the FBI and DOJ whistleblower records reveal anti-Trump plot in the 2020 election case. Oh my God, more election deniers. Hold on, bloody nose. I can't handle it. Offensive. Well, let me tell you here, because treason is the season, as we're going to be finding out more treason and espionage. In fact, it just came out that the former higher up over there at the Federal Reserve was giving secrets to China. See what we're dealing with here? The swamp is real and it's massive. Well, now Senator Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson, the Wisconsin senator, released whistleblower records revealing coordinated FBI and DOJ efforts to target President Donald Trump back in 2020, an election case in the season back then. The investigation, codenamed Arctic Frost, was spearheaded by FBI agent Timothy Thibault, who had a documented anti-Trump bias, raising concerns about the integrity of the federal law enforcement. The Federal Bureau infiltrators. Thibault bypassed FBI protocols by authoring the initial language for special counsel Jack Smith's case against Trump, a clear violation of established procedures. Also, Richard Pilger, a DOJ official, reviewed and approved that Arctic Frost investigation, further implicating the DOJ in the political weaponization of law enforcement. So this is part of the purge of all those FBI agents we shared with you just the other night. And finally, the scandal highlights a pattern of political bias over there at the FBI and the Department of Injustice, reminiscent of the J. Edgar Hoover era, minus the nightgown, and underscores the need for accountability to protect American democracy. Yeah, I'm sure that's one of the just few scandals we're going to learn about. Oh, wait a minute, I spoke too soon. Well, now there's more. There's now more scrutiny happening, and powered by Natural News here. Big shout out to Mike. Well, now FBI agents under scrutiny as Justice Department reviews their roles in instigating violence on the most dreadful day since the Zeppelin blew up, the January 6, 2021. You guessed it. And sentencing innocent Americans now. Well, here's what I'm talking about, because now the U.S. Justice Department has ordered thousands of FBI personnel to disclose their roles in the January 6 Capitol riot investigations. It's cold. Cold veins here. Let me just read that one more time. The United States Justice Department, the DOJ, has ordered thousands of FBI personnel to disclose their roles. These are all the informants. Yes. So somebody should give Mr. Pete Santilli a call and ask what his role was that day, as he was there. And also, acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove has initiated a review process that could lead to personnel changes, sparking fears of political purge. In addition to that, Democratic lawmakers and FBI officials have raised concerns about the targeting of agents involved in cases related to Donald Trump and Capitol riots. This move now comes amid ongoing debates over politicization of the federal law enforcement and the real perpetrators behind the January 6 attack. Yes, one of them names, she lives in Frisco, and she goes by Nancy. Well, finally, the FBI acted as a political hit squad, as the findings have now shown, driving protesting Americans to commit unlawful entries, rioting, and vandalisms. FBI agents also targeted individuals in their own homes, terrorized them, trapped them into unfair sentencing, and believe me, I know a lot of those people affected by it. Jim, we have rotten institutions, but my God, we have some rotten law agencies in this country, and the rats are scurrying from the ship.
Yeah, and it looks like Harsh Patel might be just a guy to clean it out and reform the FBI. I think you got those 5,000 agents. They might have even been in the crowd, inciting the crowd. I'm telling you, the FBI has become that corrupt, Dean. And, exposing the fabrication of those, it's going to get down to the attempts to impeach Trump, all the other illegal cases brought against him by Jack Smith. This is going to be quite a revelation, but, there are diehard Democrats who aren't going to admit no matter what. I've encountered this with Sandy Hook. People who just aren't even willing to look at the evidence and claim it must be fabricated if it contradicts their preferred point of view.
Well, Russian talking points. Whoever the adversary of U.S. aid is, of what they want to conquer, is what you're going to be gaslit with. Here's Wild Mountain Bear, Jim, saying the following. Tulsi Gabbard says she now supports surveillance she once tried to end. This issue could decide whether she's confirmed as Director of National Intelligence. Jim, I'm not sure they're saying things wholeheartedly, rather than saying things to get past these this American Idol tryout here.
Yeah. Well, Harsh Patel had said he believed in the FISA Act, and I think to reconcile so that one Trump nominee wasn't used against another, they asked Tulsi to modify for the sake of the confirmation hearings. But it's very clear she doesn't believe in it. And you can have an act on the books and yet never appeal to it. I believe she's completely trustworthy, my opinion. Even some here are in the comments saying they're skeptical about Tulsi. I say, do not be. She's 100% the real deal.
I should add, Edward Snowden told her to say that he committed an act of treason. He advised her to just say it to get through the process here. And we have Ringe Buck, who is on fire tonight. 5,000 out of 13,000 FBI agents worked on J6, which reminds me, when this news came down, Jim, about they're getting subpoenas for all this classified information between agents. I wish I could have been there when that news broke. I wish I could have seen the look on Omar Epps there, or excuse me, Ray Epps. Who's infamously, renowned for opening the doors.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah. He's a gonzo journalist. Jim, we have a hard break coming up here as so many people are piping in here. I can't even help it. Zelensky got overheated during an interview, raised his voice a little. Yeah, because nobody loves him anymore. He was the world's piggy bank. Now he's going to be the world's pig, and they're going to just take him to the glue factory. Stand by, Jim. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, we have just a whole plethora of stories, just a few left, but we're also going to concentrate on your questions, comments, concerns, conjectures, and crimes against humanity that are coming. Stand by as you're watching the #1 late night show, World at War. We'll be back after this break.
Learned is that the IRS, in fact, has been using AI to access bank accounts of American citizens without any kind of a search warrant or even without any specific claim that they have committed a crime. So this was something that was discovered by an undercover journalist, and what they found is that the IRS has claimed that they have access to every single person's bank account. This person also indicated that they've been working with the Department of Justice and that they have absolutely no problem whatsoever going after the little guy to make sure that they are paying their taxes. This is such a blatant violation of the Fourth Amendment that we have, Jim Jordan and I sent a letter to the IRS demanding that they provide additional information about what they are doing with AI and what they are doing to protect the civil rights of American citizens. What we have learned is that the IRS, in fact, has
Okay, here we are. Jim, do you remember when you took that picture at the Vatican? That was wonderful. I never knew you were in the running to be the next pope. You'll get it someday. You'll get it someday. Anyways, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Real Deal Media's Real Deal Media Live. I'm still Dean Ryan, your cruise director, who's cruising with you to midnight and beyond here tonight. Tonight's show is brought to you by, you guessed it, the Wellness Company. Got Ivermectin? Well, Dr. Ryan's paging Dr. Ryan. Yes, let me tell you, this works. I think somebody asked in a live chat, but ivermectin is the wonder drug. It is the fighter of all cancers. And, we're really fighting parasites. I've come to now learn over the course of now 5 years or so We're fighting parasites. So you want to fight parasites. You want to stomp on parasites. You want to take back your power to defeat these evil parasites. Well, go to www.twc.health/Dean Ryan. And when you get there, use promo code Dean Ryan. And also tell them Dean Ryan sent you. That is a fact, Jack. And also thank you to everybody who's donated to givesendgo.com/realdealgo. Real Deal Go. You have made this possible, just like the Real Deal Media members, the Night Owls. Go to realdealmedia.tv/membership. And I couldn't get it in time, but I will say by tomorrow, you're going to see the new Valentine collection. It's just wonderful. Hopefully you like pink Cadillacs and pink flamingos and some other things, but you'll be seeing that tomorrow here. Okay, we have a few more things to go. We're going to be looking at your live chats here, but let's get started with some Real Deal Internet. Real Deal International. Yes. Well, this is a story. You know, you look at where the origins of controversial cartels as MS-13 stem from, and you're going to find out that they stem from El Salvador. In fact, when you go to Mexico, as I have traveled through all of Central America, as soon as you get to the border of Mexico and El Salvador, the Mexican government has beefed up heavy presence of their military at their border. That's what you don't hear about in the main news. Of what they do. They don't want El Salvadorians to get into Mexico. But this one's a little different this time because there's a new president in charge over there in El Salvador. And he's saying the following now. Is El Salvador's millennial dictator, they say. See how the news presents. They call him a millennial dictator, a guy who's made the official currency of the country, Bitcoin, is now a millennial dictator, has now offered to hold American criminals in mega prisons because there's too many of them. Like you just heard about how many 5,000 FBI agents participated in the PSYOP of the 6th. Well, they could go to jail, some of these people. But now Nayib Bukaki, El Salvador's millennial dictator, has offered to house migrants and dangerous criminals deported by the United States into his own country in the infamous mega jails, according to Marco Rubio. That's the latest update on that. Well, now, in addition to that now, this is a new segment. It's now called Real Deal Irony. Real Deal Irony. And let me tell you about this. This incredible story is Ocasio-Cortez. Ocasio-Cortez, I believe that's her name. AOC, yes, AOC, Ocasio-Cortez. Well, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, slam tech billionaire, Department Government Efficiency, Doge, head Doge, Elon Musk, is one of the most unintelligent billionaires she has ever met. On a recent live video on her wonderful Instagram, AOC weighed in on Musk's influence over the federal government as Doge examines and infiltrates various agencies, including the Treasury Department and the U.S. Agency of International Development, USAID. Well, here's a quote from AOC, the beloved intellectual scholar of her time. She said, quote, "This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met, seen, or witnessed." Ocasio-Cortez slammed the Doge leader for not doing, and Doge in general, for not doing their homework and putting 19-year-olds in positions of power at the Treasury Department. She continued to say that, quote, "This dude is not smart, and the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise that Elon demonstrates. I mean, like, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also just least knowledgeable billionaire I've ever met about all of these systems that we know of today." That's what she's saying about it. Oh, let me bring in our Doge expert himself, Jim Fetzer. Jim, do we understand that the real deal irony does not fall flat on us, that Ocasio-Cortez is calling Elon Musk a dum-dum?
Yeah.
I don't even, what do we say to this?
It's ludicrous. I mean, she isn't called occasional cortex for nothing. I mean, she's one of the nitwits in Congress today. It's widely recognized. Now, she has a certain charm, a certain charisma. I kind of enjoy her, but she's not one to be taken seriously. She really doesn't have original thoughts. And attacking Elon when Dodge is actually doing a lot of good is just an illustration of her lack of comprehensive understanding.
Well, you know what I've noticed too, and feel free to, oh gosh, if you want to call in. What I've noticed too, Jim, is that there's now a new target on Elon Musk, and they're trying to create friction between Trump and Elon, stating that Elon is illegally trying to take over the government and is controlling Trump, but they're saying there's some illegalities to it all. But Jim, he doesn't get paid. It's a volunteer position. Isn't that the case?
Yeah. And Trump, doesn't take a salary, for crying out loud. I mean, these guys are real chums. I think it's working very well. And of course, you throw in Ramaswamy, and then you get in Kash Patel and RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, and all of a sudden you're actually chugging along and doing the business of real government. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are going so far, with the exception of this support for genocide in Gaza, which I deplore.
Here we have people on Rumble who are really reaching incredible heights tonight. We have MDSP T64. Is that the real, what acronym is that, or was that just a typo? No offense, but anyways, they say Fetterman is Einstein compared to AOC. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I would have said Mark Twain, but that works as well. But thank you. We have Hammer Time 0013 over there on Rumble saying the following: Swiss banks are not safe from RICO laws too. Oh, really? I did not know that. That's news to me. But thank you for that. We have Rebel Mama who's saying that she knows Winnipeg Lab is involved. That's absolutely correct. You go back to 2018, 2019 over there in Canada. You had Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland literally take the mantle and lead to refund the WHO and the UN, who are sinking. So, and yeah, there's a lot to that. Who was saying that over here? Patrick King, when he was working over here at RDM, he brought that information to us, and we were just gobsmacked that a lot of this NIH stuff was heavily happening in our northern border over there. Okay, here's some more people here. We have Jan Thompson saying some witty comments tonight, I must say. Yeah, we have Jim, you have to give it up. We have one of the smartest audiences out there, today.
I've been monitoring the comments tonight. They seem to be really spot on, very appropriate. Of course, a lot of interaction, greeting one another.
Yeah,
because it's a community. Yeah. It's like a extended family.
It certainly is. Okay, here's another one. We have Jan Thompson, who continues saying Ilhan Omar has openly stated she is offering advice to Somalians how to evade ICE. Handcuffs at the ready, Elon advises nothing gets passed without Trump's say so. Jim, that goes back to what I was saying. If, they're aiding and abetting the terrorist under military law, they're considered just as much of a terrorist as the designated group, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, Elon is playing a very hazardous game here and trying to suggest how her fellow Somalis should evade ICE. She ought to keep hands off of that. I think it's a big mistake. She could become a target herself.
You said Ilion or Elon or Ilion. Okay, that's right. We have Seth Black who's saying gobsmacked, RDM drinking game word. Seth, I don't use that one often. That's a +4 card. It's very rare. We do have a caller who's calling in, Jim. I know you like that.
Sure.
Jan says, I liked how Jim described AOC. Jim, how did you describe AOC? That must have...
Occasional cortex.
Okay. She seems like a nice person.
That
though.
didn't originate with me. I can't take credit for, but
Oh, I was going to say
the cerebral
Jim, you might be the one.
cortex, she has only occasionally a thought in her mind. That's what it implies.
And then finally, and then we're going to go to our caller. A lot of people are having debates about ivermectin over there on Rumble, if I may add, since I am a TV doctor. It's anti-parasitic. Jim has some. Actually, he was ill. What was it? 2 weeks ago. He had something, and you took some and you got better.
Influenza. Yeah, I'm sure it contributed.
Yeah, he got better, and word on the street is that's how Jim gets rid of his hangovers too. But you didn't hear from me. Okay, Jim, we have a caller. Let's take this call. Who do we have here tonight? All the way from, I want to say the Appalachian Mountains, Ranger Buck, former military special forces Ranger Buck. Welcome to Real Deal Media Live.
Hey guys, what's up?
Oh, so much is changing, but Buck, you brought up an interesting point in the live chat earlier. As I was snooping on what you were writing, you said 5,000 FBI agents have, out of X amount of many, have participated in January 6th. You want to expand on that thought?
Yeah, that's what came out today. They're going to get rid of those guys, I guess, because it was all a ploy. Actually, it was coordinated by the CIA and the FBI and Liz Cheney and the old guard that was all connected to Dick Cheney and the CIA cells and Gina Haspel. It goes all the way up to, remember Gina.
What happened to Gina Haspel? We don't even know where Gina Haspel, last thing we heard about her, she was a late add-on to the Trump 1.0 administration. And then we never heard about her again. She was supposed to stop a lot of the monstrosity back then.
Well, if you remember, right before January 6th, she came into Mitch McConnell's office and was scared to death and pleading for her life because they had chased her out of Germany and all the. I think she may have been I think she was in a German location with the computer systems and all that.
Wait, who is she running from? Who is she running from?
The white hat cells that were after her.
Oh, gotcha.
They traced all the data from who was tapping into the Dominion and Smartmatic voting machines, and they traced that back to the Vatican, Pope Fetzer the first, and they found the cell in the Vatican. They also found a cell in Germany. They found cells in Ukraine. It's all connected, and it's all paid for by USAID, which is, you look back here. I got some of the prices on the screen that they paid, and they were Democratic operatives. It was filled with basically CIA. It was a CIA extension, and they were undermining the Trump administration in every foreign policy, national security situation that we got in. They were undercutting and going back and making deals and giving all these leaders of other countries money. And all that's going to be exposed and dripped in the coming months if China doesn't. We still got China as the big wild card in everything.
Right. Yeah. They're going to be the next low-hanging fruit. But Jim, don't you think it's time? We have people, for instance, all over LA. When Trump came to town to survey the area, all of a sudden, all of the fires, all of the disasters became a Trump issue, and he was being hated on again. And then to add, when he cut the funding for NGOs and these what you would presume are charitable organizations, people said, how could he? What a monster. But the fact of the matter is, these are money laundering NGOs, organizations, security. It's funding the deep state. And we need to explain that, don't we?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. These are corrupt organizations. He's doing a great job of cleaning house, in my judgment. And I liked when he was interviewed in L.A., he said, I had surveyed the damage and it looked like it was hit. He won't say by what it was hit. I mean, obviously, implying directed energy. He's got the score. He recognizes this is what happened in Palisade, California, in Paradise, California, and in Lahaina. And, I think it's hard to fool this guy, though. On some cases, he does appear to have been fed false information, such as a report he made up late, suggesting the Russian casualties were much, much higher than Ukrainian, which is contradicted on many fronts. Ukraine's actually lost about 1 million, Russia about 150,000. They recently had a prisoner exchange, and the Ukrainians had like 74 dead Russians, and the Russians like had 745 dead Ukrainians. That tells you what's really going
on. Buck, we have some more callers calling, but before you go, just to harp on, I should ask, did you want to add something? I never even asked you, but what you're thinking, to add to what Jim's saying, he made a brilliant point. If Trump can totally understand what the DEWs have done, what they're doing, don't you think he is kind of the puzzle solver and problem solver that can understand of the complete brazen fraudulence in smoke screens and mythical smoke ones that Netanyahu's doing on him and the whole Israeli lobby?
Yeah, the Netanyahu Bibi's an interesting issue because they were involved in 9/11. If you don't, I mean, most people should know that by now, but I don't know. I don't know where that's going, but instead of a Palestinian state, he is saying that they want to clean out Gaza, and there's already Palestinian states with Jordan and the neighboring countries.
Also too, there's nothing there. It's completely obliterated. They'd be coming back to there's nothing. It's all destroyed.
That all goes back to our your great expose of the underground tunnels, because in that document that I presented that one time on 6 Underground, that document lays out one of the main tunnels they wanted to clean out were the tunnels in Gaza. There's all kinds of tunnels and child trafficking in Gaza.
Well, you know what, Buck, I'll tell you, that's going to be our next episode there, the Gaza tunnels. Hey, Buck, we got to go. Thanks for calling in, okay? We'll be talking soon. All right, there you have it. Stay safe, Jim. All right, we have another caller. Well, he hung up. So we have another caller, a backup of the backup. He's all the way from Canada, mouth of the South, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion right here. Leo, welcome to Real Deal Media Live.
Woo-wee, Dean. We talk about Trump being a smart guy. Okay, you can have your Genghis Kongs out there and your Napoleons. Trump is one smart cookie. He baited Trudeau like nobody else could. Okay, and he did it by making Trudeau commit to $1.3 billion, and he don't have that. Okay, as you know, our parliament's prorogued. It's shut down. In order for him to get that, it was the budget. Okay, it was supposed to be in the next budget. They never passed the budget, so they got to go back into the House of Commons in order to pass the budget. When he does, that's when they're going to call the vote of non-confidence. So he's got 30 fucking days to get it together, and he's done. Plain and simple.
Okay, well, so let me, because I need to understand how the elections of Canada is working. So when is the official election season and day, Leo? Is that going to be next year?
October this year. Okay,
October this year.
Right.
Okay, October this year. And to my understanding, from what Aaron told us, is he shut Parliament down. Is Parliament shut down right now?
Yes.
Or, okay.
100%.
Are you aware of this, Jim? This is all in the wake of the Trump inauguration, So shutting it down, what does that entail him to do or not do?
He can't do nothing. Okay, they can't have any votes on anything. Everything has to be voted on over here. We don't have a pardon system like the U.S. We do have a pardon system, but you have to wait 5 years in order for the pardon to clear. So you got to be off criminal charges for 5 years and then be able to apply for a pardon. Okay, it's not like Trump. Your pardon. Okay, Joe Biden pardoning Hunter and Hillary and the rest of the clown show, right? That don't happen over here. So he can't even, man, there's going to be a lot of shit that's going to happen here in Canada, especially when they go back to Parliament and they call for a vote of non-confidence, and Jagmeet Singh, the East Indian terrorist, who's holding Canada hostage, okay, will vote for Trudeau non-conference. How can you vote for a fucking for a government that's you have confidence in when there is no government? Trudeau resigned.
So
there's going to be civil war over here.
So this is a big deal,
and that's how we're going to become the fifth.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, once the
that's
civil
what I wanted
unrest
to ask
happens,
you about.
Okay, and that's what's going to throw it over the top is Jagmeet Singh, and then all hell's going to break loose in Canada, and that's when Donald Trump's going to come in with the 101st Airborne Division into Ottawa, clean it up, and we will be the 51st state.
Okay, that's an incredible prediction. In fact, I'm going to timestamp that and edit that and make that a single. Jim, you want to weigh in on this because we could be talking to our one of our fellow Americans right here beneath us who might be joining the club here. You want to weigh in, Jim?
Well, of course, Trump has made some extraordinary claims about retaking control of the Panama Canal, buying Greenland or taking control of Greenland and Canada becoming the 51st state. I've had a hard time fathoming how serious he is about any of these. And I'm completely fascinated to hear a Canadian say something like that might come to pass. Fascinating.
That's right. And when Leo becomes American, he's moving in with you, Jim. That's the other news. He's going to be staying free passage now.
Jim's beer. First things first, I'm going to Jim's house, drinking all his beer, eating all his beef, and yeah.
There's a question, Leo, in closing here. If you were to become the 51st state an American, what are the first few things that you would like to do as an American? I've never thought about that. I should ask you.
Well, the first things I would like to see is our First Amendment to be held up, because we would have that, the same as the Americans. We're American after all, and that it would be the right to protect yourself, okay? And somebody comes into your house, you're not going to sit there and wait till after he's done raping your wife and your kids, and then you
right. The castle law, Police, yeah.
After watching it.
Well, maybe you'll go shooting. Maybe we'll take you. You could go hunting and all kinds of things. Hey, Leo, we're pressed for time. I want to thank you for calling in. And quite frankly, I think Trudeau is stepping down because of that incredible movie we did last year called The Whore of Havana. I think it was too much pressure for him. What do you think? All right. All right, Leo, hang in there. We'll see you soon. There you have it. Okay, Jim, we've reached that moment of truth as now it is officially the, well, Let's go. Cookies, elegant, warm, friendly, and final thoughts here tonight. We're going to start with Jim Fetzer, who's going to take us home. Jim.
Well, Dean, I think so far so good on the whole. A part, again, as I say, is weakness for Israel. I think Donald Trump's been very impressive. Many have observed he's accomplished more in 2 weeks than Joe Biden did in 4 years, and I think that's a fact. It was because so many decisions Biden made were by executive order that a new president can undo them so rapidly. But I think he's making a lot of good picks. I like Tulsi. I like RFK Jr. Kash Patel looks good. I've been impressed by J.D. Vance speaking up and putting down some of the ridiculous attacks coming from the left. So I say, so far, so good.
So far, so good. And look at this last minute update. U.S. Postal Service has just suspended receiving old packages and parcels from China. Wow. Wonder why. Yeah, who knows? Okay, my final thought is I agree with everything Jim said. We're seeing a lot of placating. What you may see in public in front of the cameras may be completely different, maybe even adversary behind the cameras. But nonetheless, it's undeniable that America is changing every single day, Jim. It is a step closer to the true freedom and the true republic that the forefathers sought to make happen here. So that's that. Okay, we're going to leave it there. I'll be back tomorrow night And Jim, how can people follow you? Because you have a wonderful show you do with the other guys.
Well, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Revolution Radio, Studio B, The Raw Deal, from noon to 2 Eastern, and then every day, Monday through Friday, RBN, authentic news from 3 to 5. You don't want to miss it.
Have it. Don't want to miss it. Catch Jim doing his incredible allegiance to the country every single day. Okay, for Jim Fetzer, for the Mouth of the South, for our other callers, Ranger Buck, and all of your just wonderful comments here tonight. I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you for sharing a bit of your night. Until the next time, always remember to stay tuned and stay awake. Good night, everybody. On Camwell, an afternoon, in a room full of emptiness by a freeway, I confess I was lost in the pages of a book full of death, reading how we'll die alone if we're good or laid to rest. Anywhere you wanna go, in your house, belong to me. Roam my room patiently, and I'll wait for you there, like a stone. Till the day was gone.